Hello everyone, my name is Daniel. I serve as one of the pastors at Gospel Life Church in Chicago. I'm really bummed that I cannot be there in person, but I'm also really grateful that the Lord uses media, right, to for an opportunity for me to share some perspectives on multi-ethnic leadership. To share a little bit about my story and my background, as you know, I'm a pretty young man. I just got married 3 months ago. I am not quite a second-gen Asian American. I actually am more of like actual Asian. I was born in South Korea and I spent my whole life of my teenage days in Tokyo, Japan. So I went to an international school there, and after graduating, I came here to pursue education here in the United States of America. My wife Grace is actually the same way. She was born in South Korea. She was a missionary kid in Indonesia. So we both kind of came to this country as more of an international student and more of a kind of like an immigrant. And while studying at Moody Bible Institute, I found myself in a church leadership of immigrant church, meaning it was a Korean-speaking Korean church that was located in Park Ridge, Illinois. It was a really good time. It was a lot of fun. It was a form of community. And the reason why my wife and I attended there was because, just to be honest with you, it was very comfortable, right? Like they had this incredible Korean food and everything was really great. But as I was growing in my role and as I was finishing my master's study, the thing that I really had to wrestle through was, man, is this really what the Lord wants to see as a multi-ethnic church? And I'm not saying by any means that immigrant church or even Korean-speaking churches are bad by any means, but as an English-speaking international student who was dreaming to have a multi-ethnic church one day, there was a season where I had to really challenge of, man, is this what the Lord wants me in the season of my life? And what happened was that in 2022, I decided to move on to my next journey to be poured into a different church setting, more of a multi-ethnic church located in Chicago. But to be completely honest with you, it was really hard to find a church that would even consider meeting me. As you know, I was an immigrant. There were a lot of immigration things I had to wrestle through. I was a Korean guy. I didn't have any connections. I was an immigrant church, so there were not many churches that would want to embrace me or even hear my story and see how I could even fit into the culture and even learn from. And the church that I was connected was a church in Carroll Stream, which is where I'm at right now. It's called Gospel Life Church. And when I met with my lead pastor, Pastor Scott, he just really kind of embraced me. He took me under his wings. And it's been now, I think, going into 3 years of being mentored under a leader who really values multi-ethnic leadership. If you even go to our church website, our leadership, we already have 3 African-American full-time pastors, and there is an Asian like myself in their staff as well. We've also had a guy from Congo who was serving as a small group pastor for 5 years. We also had a worship pastor who's Hispanic for 5 to 6 years. So looking at those records, it made me realize, okay, this might be a good spot for me to learn under and really pursue multi-ethnic church. And I think I value multi-ethnic leadership so well because, as you know, I think context is always a key. And for us being in DuPage County, being in the suburb of Chicago, there are so many immigrants coming from all different kinds of places. And I think many churches do a seminar, they do a sermon, they provide some videos on how we need to embrace all the immigrants and be a multi-ethnic church. But for us to really embrace the multi-ethnic people in our congregation to present of how heaven should look like, I think it needs to be reflected in the leadership. And that is why I really appreciate having a lot of different races and different people from all different ages be in a church leadership. And as a young man, there's nothing else that I can be more thankful to be surrounded in that culture. And I believe that me in my Asian background, although it may look a little different to relate to some of the kids at Wheaton and Carroll Stream, I believe that there is a way that God's going to use my multi-ethnic and my Korean ethnicity to really advance the gospel here in Chicagoland through my church as well.